Okay, yeah. Southside, yeah. That's where I spend downtime, yeah. I mean, at night, the rap, I check the podcast for the smoke, yeah. I don't want to fight with you.
What's going on, family? It's your man, K to the second letter. I am here on Southside Rabbi with none other than I mean the dream machine. Cannot get in between gleans and is highly esteemed. Unshakable, unbreakable, untamable.
Uh-oh.
But always sustainable.
Uh-oh.
Message.
Renewable energy. That's who
what
this man is.
I was thinking about that.
He's efficient. He is proficient.
Sustainability, baby.
And never deficient. Make some noise one time for I mean the dream, Hudson.
Thank you. And across from me, listen to me. Listen, I am sitting next to a man.
It has to be as short as mine, bro.
Okay.
You can't do it, bro.
Okay.
I'm tired of being embarrassed on my own show.
I am sitting next to a man that as soon as you shake his hand, you are going to go into a trance. He is going to split open your medulla oblongata, and he is going to bequeath to you knowledge that you did not have before.
Impartation.
He is going to impart knowledge and wisdom and discernment, which discernment is really just the difference between being able to discern what's good and what's best. Ooh. He is going to put that into your cerebral cortex and make sure that you live a wise and discerning life in the Spirit of God. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm trying to keep this as short as possible, but it is hard when you are sitting across from a man that is as formidable as this man is right here.
Wow.
This man walks in boardrooms in slippers, pajamas, and a tank top with a stain on it.
Oh, no, you didn't.
And people that are in there in Armani suits.
Shout out to Spaghetti.
Shout out to the Spaghetti. He actually makes great spaghetti, by the way. Don't play with him.
I'm nice with it.
People in Armani suits say, what in the world has walked into our boardroom? And I know what you're thinking. They're probably thinking, how is this man in this dirty tank top and these pajama pants and these slippers in this boardroom with us right now? He doesn't belong here. But no, they say, we don't belong here. This man has walked into a bank in the middle of a boardroom while folks are on Zoom and said, can I have the room? You know when somebody asks, can I have the room, and everybody clears out? That's power.
That's authority.
That's power. Anyway, let me not go too far. I'm talking to you about Kevin Elijah Smooth and Groove Burgess, true theologian for real. Don't leave your Bible around him for real. You can ask anyone you want, the best Bible teachers, scholars, professors, theologians, whoever, and they will tell you that this man is their mentor.
Wow. I mentored them all.
He's mentored them all, even the ones that are dead. So,
thank you, Meansy.
Yeah, man.
God bless
so,
you,
what are we talking about today?
Man.
I love you too, bro.
All right, we are here to talk about a couple things.
Okay.
All in the same vein, though, but this is important.
Okay.
Kyle Rittenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And the case of Ahmaud Arbery's murder.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those trials wrapped up around the same time.
Right.
And though they were distinctly different,
and
the outcomes distinctly different,
right,
there was a lot of continuity in the context that created both of those cases.
Absolutely.
Briefly walk us through, what was the results? Give us a small context behind each case and what the result was. And then I will then talk about their connection and then the subject of this conversation.
Right. Kyle Rittenhouse was accused of killing 2 protesters.
Yes.
Right. He showed up to a protest with a militia in Kenosha called the Kenosha Guard. And he showed up with, folks would classify them as a militia. I think that they probably would fight back against the term. This was after the shooting of Jacob Blake by the police.
Gotcha.
There was a riot after the shooting of Jacob Blake. Protests turned into riots. A lot of stuff got burned down. And then you have this next time where there's more protests. Kyle Rittenhouse and the militia guard are out there to try to protect these businesses. Police seem to be friendly towards the militia guard. You can see videos
Almost
of them
thankful that they're there.
handing them water, saying thank you for what you guys do, which is weird for the police to be saying that to civilians out there with AR-15s. But I digress. And what ends up happening is that, things get fraught. You know,
Yeah.
the heat turns up on these protests, and Kyle Rittenhouse gets into this altercation with this gentleman.
Sure.
Where Kyle Rittenhouse is running from this gentleman. This gentleman is trying to assault him.
Right.
He is running from him. That's on video. Can't be denied. You can see that in the drone footage.
Right.
This man is running after Kyle Rittenhouse, trying to assault him. Kyle Rittenhouse kind of gets into this position where he feels like he has to defend himself. He turns around. He shoots this gentleman with the AR-15. This gentleman ends up dying. When he shoots him, he runs. Other protesters who saw what happened chased him. As Kyle Rittenhouse is running from these protesters, he trips over himself. One protester who was running after him tries to hit him in the head with a skateboard. He kind of misses. Kyle Rittenhouse shoots that guy. He dies. Another protester who was running behind that guy, he tries to pull out a gun on Kyle Rittenhouse, which was his own Glock. Kyle Rittenhouse shoots that guy. He doesn't die. So then, you know, after that, Kyle Rittenhouse gets up, runs to the police. You know, that's the case.
Yeah. Kind
of like a year or so later, you know, they take this to trial. Kyle Rittenhouse is claiming self-defense, and he gets acquitted of the charges, right? Sure. And then we have Ahmaud Arbery, who is jogging down this neighborhood street. These folks that live there, the McMichaels, they see Ahmaud Arbery running down the street, and for some reason, they connect this black man running down the street to some crimes that had been happening beforehand, where folks' property has been being broken into. They've gotten some folks on the camera, you know, snooping around some houses that are being built, and, you know, they weren't finished yet, so you could kind of walk into those houses and stuff like that. And then you got some people that were saying that there's some things that have been missing. And so you have Ahmaud Arbery running down the street. You have Greg McMichael, and then you have Travis McMichael believing for some reason that Ahmaud Arbery is the one that's connected to these people's stuff that are missing. Yeah. They decide to grab their guns and then get in a truck to go question Ahmaud Arbery. So they're riding down the street with weapons, with loaded weapons, carried out in the open. And they essentially have a conversation with Ahmaud Arbery, who's running down the street, which they are perceiving that Ahmaud is running because he's committing a crime.
What does he have on him?
So they load up in their truck. And they, along with a neighbor, William Rody Bryan, who was also recording this, and they essentially kind of run down on Ahmaud Arbery, try to cut him off, and you know, say they want to ask him some questions and stuff like that. Ahmaud Arbery ends up, you know, they hop out with the guns, right? Ahmaud Arbery ends up getting in an altercation with them, fighting back. He gets shot by them, and he dies. And then now, you know, there's of course a lot of protests after that, rightfully so. And now that case has gone to trial, and all three of them have been convicted. Right.
Yeah.
And so
to note that the conviction was on the back of social media outrage.
Yes, because this is another thing. That the McMichaels went about 73 days without being arrested after the incident. Right. Now the lead prosecutor on the case has been arrested. Well, she's turned herself in because the police are now investigating the prosecutor because the prosecutor had a relationship with the McMichaels. And the police are now investigating the claims that are being made regarding the prosecutor covering things up for the McMichaels. Right. So now that prosecutor is in hot water because of her personal relationship with them, and the prosecutor has seemed, we're going to see as the case goes on, to kind of pull some strings to keep the McMichaels out of hot water in this. But the only reason it seems that they were actually arrested was because social media got a hold of what happened, and there was outrage about that. And then they got arrested 73 days later.
Sure. Yep.
So that's where we're at.
It's likely, and like other cases that are similar to it, would have disappeared, and the McMichaels
nobody would have never known about it.
Living their life.
Right. They would have went on living their life.
After they, according to a jury filled with our peers, right, according to the court system, right, they murdered that man. So
all the evidence was presented on both sides.
Right.
And the juries, they unanimously decided, no, these dudes murdered this man. Yeah. Which is what we had been saying when it happened. Right. And which I believe is absolutely true. And I think that one of the things that we see that links these two cases together is vigilantism. I think that the United States has a very unique relationship with vigilantism. Yeah. Specifically because of how we think about like the Second Amendment. Now, people on the show should know by now I am pro Second Amendment. Right. If you've seen the episode that I did with Ruslan about Kyle Rittenhouse. I do believe that Kyle Rittenhouse was defending himself.
Right.
I do believe that it was dumb and very idiotic and stupid for Kyle Rittenhouse to be out there with his AR-15 LARPing around with the rest of the folks for some reason in the 2A community that loves to LARP in military gear. I have my own beef with folks in the 2A community that love to do that.
Right. Yeah, I heard somebody call it military cosplay.
That's what it is. It's like military cosplay, man. And these cats have real guns, and some of them are ex-military, a lot of them are not.
Yeah,
and they're kind of fulfilling their military dreams by training with their firearms, buying all this military gear, coming out to feel like they're protecting something, and they have absolutely no real training when it comes to conflict management and conflict resolution.
Right.
But I think that we have a unique relationship with it because we have, allowed civilians to be to own firearms, which I'm a proponent of.
Sure.
But I think that there is a type of responsibility that a firearm owner has to have when it comes to what you are doing with your firearms, and then when you feel it necessary to use them. I always think that vigilantism, in my opinion, I've said it before, I think that vigilantism almost never works. It's almost never good when you're saying, we are going to go out to protect something with our own guns right now, like out in the open, right?
Sure.
You have like I said about the Kyle Rittenhouse.
Especially when you have other recourses that you could...
a lot of other recourses that could happen.
Trained individuals, or at least more trained than you are, who are paid
to do this
and appointed to do this, could do it, and you say no.
Right.
This is what we saw happen with Trayvon Martin.
That's exactly what happened with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin.
Was specifically told to go home.
Let the police handle this.
But you know what George Zimmerman's pushback was? If I let them do it, then he's going to get away with this.
Right.
Mind you, there was no this to get away with.
There was no crime being committed.
He didn't do anything.
He was walking down the street on a cell phone.
Which also is a reflection of your ignorance.
Right.
That you shouldn't be doing this. You're not an investigator. You don't know what to look for.
Right.
You don't know how to sift through your biases.
Exactly.
You don't know the questions that need to be asked.
Right.
Even if the McMichaels were going to try to recover something of value that they lost, how does one go about that with a gun in their hand with no real training? Now, there was one individual that had a history in that, but was retired from one of the McMichaels, was involved in police, in law enforcement before. Right. But that's a world of difference, being someone who was actively paid and appointed to handle these kind of situations. Right. You're to work with law enforcement, not as law enforcement. Right. And let me just say this real quick bro, because I'm actually kind of bothered by this because it's so close to home. Right. Our governor recently was in my city, St. Petersburg, Florida, sharing that he thought it might be good to reestablish a World War II era civilian military force that was controlled by him. Yeah, not the federal government. Not the Pentagon. They're specifically controlled by the governor. Right. And which they're civilians. A vigilante group. That's exactly what it is. That has my permission to be armed. Right. And handle things throughout the community at my discretion. All right? That's a terrible idea. It's all growing out of this fear that the suburbs, in a lot of ways, has towards their property being basically taken advantage of or vandalized or whatever it is via the unruly. Okay? Now, that unruly category a lot of times has some racial dimensions to it. It definitely has age dimensions to it as well. Because in my neighborhood, for example, now a lot of folks don't know this about me. One of my favorite things to do in this world, bro, is argue with people on my community Facebook page. He loves to do it. He sends me screenshots. It's so encouraging to be a part of it, bro. It's so fun, man. Because people are constantly revealing themselves, right? They'll show who they are, and who they are can be problematic. Right. Like all of us, when you see who we are. Right. It's problematic, but then they take their problematicness and then form missions behind it. Right. And try to galvanize support to take what was problematic from the jump into something else. And I'll give you an example of it. I have said it before on this show. I'll say it again. I have lived in the trenches, fam. Yes. Now, I wasn't there for a long time, but I was there for enough to get a taste of it, my guy. Right. I have never been around people more scared than the folks that I live with in my suburb, bro. It does make me, I honestly think that it does make me grateful for growing up where we did in Southside. Yeah. Because
it has definitely helped me, and I think you understand what is a real threat and what is not.
What's a real threat? What should you be concerned about? Man, we had the other day there was and I listen, I feel like a justice guard in that place because I will hop into the comment section real quick, very gently, very positively. I stand by everything that I've said. I've done it all in grace and love, but I speak truth.
Yeah.
There was a kid, I don't know if it's from our neighborhood or not, but there was these kids that were riding around at like 11:30 p.m., bro. Mm-hmm. And they were jumping on people's Christmas or holiday decorations. So you have an
like
inflatable snowman, inflatable reindeer, inflatable turkey. Dude ran and jumped on as a joke.
Right.
To be funny. Jumped on it and deflated and then ran off. Mad people were assuming he took a knife and slashed it, right? He slashed it and he had a knife on that property. He better be happy he didn't get shot and killed.
Hold up.
And I know some of y'all are out there right now are thinking, yeah, that sounds right. If you come to my house and you have a weapon on you, even if it's in my land, there's no telling, I have the right to kill you. And that is precisely the disparity we wish to address on this podcast.
Absolutely.
Can you feel the finality of taking a child's life because they damaged one of your lawn gnomes?
It's insane.
Do you not see, and I'm glad that we live relatively, depending on your legal representation, that you would have great argumentation in court for why you killing a child, fam, because you thought they might be a threat all the way on the inside of your house behind the locked doors and closed windows.
Right.
That you had to go out and take this child's life because they damaged your lawn gnome.
Right.
You can argue, well, I don't know, that a knife could be this, all hypotheticals. But what you should be judged off is the reality. Because the reality is not only did the kid not have a knife, all he did, which was vandalism and wrong, and he shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
And I agree that he would be putting himself in a situation where a fool might come outside with his vigilante ways and take his life. So there, in terms of managing, because we cannot control what sin might do.
Right.
We don't know.
Very true. Mm-hmm.
You don't know. You may show up at that person's house. Mm-hmm. That's a valid point.
Right.
Somebody in there cleaning his guns and here's you.
Right.
You ruffling in the front yard and come out and make a bad decision and cost your life. That is, we should talk to our children like that. However, taking that child's life is wrong.
Right.
It's wrong, fam.
Right.
Your land isn't so sacred. The American Project wants to teach us that our land is so sacred. Whether a dog defecating in our front yard, a child breaking one of our Christmas lights or knocking a deer over, or somebody standing over my bed with an AR-15 in their hand, it's all the same.
Right.
And the level of violence that you can take
the
in
response
that
is the same.
Respectable and
justified.
Foolishness.
Yep. Foolishness.
At the very least, we have some kind of understanding of how violence works in the Old Testament, in God's mind for Israel, that there should be proportionality.
Right. Absolutely.
That you should be able to match the level of threat. But what happens when you always are living at a heightened sense of threat? And this is the disparity that I wish to address, that it feels like individuals, especially in middle America or suburban America, live with a heightened sense of threat, that they are constantly thinking that people are trying to take their kids and rape their wives, fam.
Yeah.
It's insane. For real. All of the comments that I have read on this Facebook page throughout the years of people minding their business. Just last week, a kid sitting outside in his car waiting for his girlfriend to get home from work, right? All of these posts popping up on Facebook. What's he doing? He looks weird. He might be up to no good. I saw him before. Where is calling on people to come question this man for sitting outside? The neighbor of the girlfriend literally came on like, whoa, guys. He's just waiting for his girlfriend to get home. You're not in danger. Wow. Fam, it's wild, man. I'm telling you, I sense it often in these conflicts where we should slow down the neighborhood. Folks doing more than 20 miles per hour in the neighborhood is dangerous, and that should
for
be
sure, because there's kids
against, man. the way we even address that, it's like, yo, you killed my child.
Right.
And it's like, fam, there has to be a way for us to protect our children, protect our home, protect our land that isn't born in so much fright.
Right.
Now, fear has a place. That's why we lock our doors.
For sure.
Fear has a role.
Right.
That's why we arm ourselves. Fear has a role, but living out of that fear turns shadows into monsters and leaves rustling into all-out assaults on us.
Right. Usually the reason that you're living in fear is irrationality.
Irrationality.
And fear causes you to be irrational.
That's what fear does.
Right.
You think about, I talk about this in community often about being an aspiring fighter myself. I spend hours and hours training for the moment that I stand in front of my opponent.
Right.
Slipping, sparring, drills, pad work, weightlifting, running, jogging. For that moment when I'm standing in front of my opponent, that is where all that I've trained
It's the culmination.
for comes out.
Right.
But the one thing that will lock you out of your training
It's fear,
is
man.
fear.
Yep.
The moment
If you get scared,
you feel it, and now you're afraid.
All your training goes out the window.
It goes out the window.
Yep.
You're now doing stuff you know you shouldn't do. You're turning your back on your opponent.
Prime example of that, y'all, was Nate Robinson getting knocked out by Jake Paul.
Ah, exactly.
Because if you looked at Nate Robinson training up to that point,
Right,
he's not a professional boxer, but
Right.
he didn't look nothing like he did in the ring.
Right.
And then once some shots started flying, he just resorted to street
he
mode.
went to the streets.
Yep, and he got knocked. His block got
Boxer,
knocked
I
off.
have sparred many street fighters, bro. A box, as long as you can't pull out weapons and kick me,
Right.
a boxer is always advantaged, man, because
Right.
I've been here before and I know what to do when I get in trouble.
Right.
You don't.
Right.
And the thing about fear is that it literally numbs you from rationality. It numbs you from the things that you should be prepared to do.
Right.
It locks you out of your training, bro.
Right.
And if you got a bunch of people that are walking around afraid all the time, they're constantly going to do irrational things.
Right.
Now, I was thinking about this one particular situation recently that I think that I was able to help. Because the guy that proposed the petition began to back down and said that I see where you're coming from. And I have a lot of those conversations.
Right.
We have a lot of, I didn't think about it
Reasonable
that way.
people.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you, once you come in the comment section, you give them some good
I
logic.
think
They're
about
like, okay.
A dude was talking about how he went to go visit, he went to a rough part of town, which is often code for a black part of town.
Right.
And he went there to
Or sketchy.
see
Sketchy's another code.
another sketchy, yeah. Which we mean the black people live at.
Right.
So he went to these folks' house, and he was brought there by the owner of the house. The person that was occupying the house was a tenant. He was interested in buying that house. So he went with the owner of the house. Owner knocks on the door. Tenant comes to the front, says, "Hey, how can I help you?" And then the owner says, "Hey, they got this guy here. He wants to see this house. He's thinking about buying it. Can we take a look around?" And the tenant's like, "Yeah, no problem. Just let me just get my guns off the table and put them away." And my friend of mine literally put on Facebook, "This is why I carry. This is why I always carry." And I asked him, I said, "Why did you feel like you were in danger?" Because he had weapons in the house.
Yeah.
When every house that you go to in Nashville, Tennessee, has weapons in the house.
And you have a weapon on you.
And you have a weapon on you.
Right.
Why?
What is the difference between him having a weapon on him and you having your weapon on you?
Also, too, like, criminals typically don't say, hey, I got guns inside.
Let me go put them away.
Let me go put them away. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What was that? He immediately realized that it was racialized. It was racial. He was white. It was racialized for him. That he put a bunch of assumptions, even on that neighborhood. You have the assumption that if it's a rough part of town, which made me under-resourced, that this place has the highest density of crime than anywhere else. That's not always true.
Right.
There are certain sections within that poverty and stricken area where there might be trap houses and stuff like that that's then assumed to the rest of the neighborhood. But most people living in the hood, more than most, are not criminals. Poverty doesn't equal criminality. It doesn't. Most of them are trying to get out of this. Just like you trying to leave this neighborhood, so are they. They're like, how, Lord, please. I don't want to be
Very true,
here.
though. Yes, absolutely.
But man, it's these, again, fear. Fear locks you out of rationality. Why am I thinking this way? Make a long story short, they wanted to get rid of the pool monitor because he was costing us $12 more a year.
That's $1 a month.
$1 a month more to keep this guy. and they said, our expenses are going up. We need to cut. The board was like, no, we can benefit from this. Have you seen the pool? Do you remember how the pool was before y'all got here? Some of us I've been living there for a long time. I was there when all those houses weren't up. It was me surrounded by land.
Right.
That pool was jacked up, fam.
Yeah.
It was, people were vandalizing all the time, throwing the chairs in the water, peeing in the water.
Right.
People jumping, the pool monitors settled all that stuff, right?
Right.
Also, one of my friends was attacked when we were out. We told the story on another episode. It was the pool monitor that came in and brought peace to the situation. He was the HOA appointed authority. Anyways, long story short, I asked the gentleman who started a petition on change.com
for a pool monitor that's costing you $12 a year.
Change.com.
Let me say this too. If you, and I'm not trying to take a shot, but I'm saying, like, literally, if you're a homeless person, if you are homeless and you're asking for money, you can come up with $1 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just saying, like, literally, you are a man that has a pretty good amount of means, and you are thinking your expenses are going up because y'all are paying $12 a year for a pool monitor?
A year, fam.
Ridiculous, bro.
A year.
It feels like sometimes folks in the suburbs, because they don't have any real fear, they create it.
They create fear.
Because like when you come from like where we've come from, we've been in situations where there's real fear. Like,
that's right.
Like
there's a real man bleeding in my driveway.
That happened. Guy got killed in my driveway.
Yes.
I
remember my mom. I still remember exactly where we were on 17th Avenue, pushing my head down.
Right.
Because there were dudes hanging out the windows in a shootout with the police chasing them down the street.
Yeah. So when you come from that, you understand what real what the real actual fear is.
Yes.
You hear the pool monitor stuff, it literally makes me
it's wild,
crazy.
Bro.
Like,
but I asked
this
the
is
dude,
not a problem.
I asked the dude, and I actually really like this guy who was leading this change, this petition, because I get that he's rational. If you give him a good argument,
he'll change his mind.
He'll submit to it.
Right.
Or at least acknowledge it. But I asked him, I said, what's your alternative? So no pool monitor. Our pool is located in a part of the neighborhood
that's not gated.
It's not gated, so it's public access. What's your alternative, sir?
If people are coming and vandalizing, how are we going to stop that?
Or if people are jumping the fence and swimming, which I've been there before. I've been here longer than y'all.
Right.
Okay? I was here before y'all got here.
Right.
When it was just me and all my Indian neighbors.
Right.
All right?
Who are nice.
Who weren't mad about the pool monitor.
Exactly.
But anyways, I guess the racial components are starting to seep in here.
Right.
I wish it wasn't this way.
But it is.
But unfortunately, I love my white neighbors with my whole heart. I'm great friends with all of them, for that matter. At least the ones that live around me. But it typically is
white folks that are making those. People of color are not in the Facebook comment section.
And then there's
talking about.
There are some in India, some Indians that join the conversation, and they're saying what I'm saying. The other black folks are silent, though. They're like, well, they'll never join the conversation.
No trouble.
Listen, brother, I understand what you're saying, man. But, man, we just trying to live our life.
It took a lot for us to get here. It took a lot for us to get here. We ain't getting ready to go nowhere no time soon.
The first black dude that moved to our neighborhood, or that I noticed in our neighborhood, I waved at him, and I feel like he looked at me and was like, oh, man. There goes the neighborhood.
I'm supposed to be the only one here.
What you doing, Terry? I was trying to get away from you. Anyways, I'm joking. So I said, what's your alternative, sir? What are we going to do? People are jumping the fence.
Right.
You want neighbors to kick them out? What about, you have to show your ID to enter the pool to show that you are a member of the community. Who's checking IDs? You know what his alternative was? The neighbors themselves will do it, and then we will call the police to come handle stuff.
Call the police when?
After you have,
like
after
you get your behind whooped like George Zimmerman, after you kill somebody or harm somebody.
Facts,
because that's the only
if you're
alternative.
Going up there thinking that, hey, I'm going to be up here for 4 hours and I'm going to be the neighborhood guard while I'm up here. What kind of things you bring with you?
Right,
mace.
Right.
Maybe
first of all, none of y'all ain't going up there for 4 hours. Yeah. But number two, if y'all want to go, y'all are going to be coming up there let me give them a piece of my mind.
That's right.
And then it's going to go.
And if you feel threatened or attacked, you may pull your concealed carry out. This is what I said to him. I said, if you're worried about wasting money, you think calling the police every other day to have them come deal with kids, it's basically kids.
Right, that's it.
Doing stuff in the pool, or you confronting kids, throwing kids out, you think that won't be contentious and lead to more police calls? And what do you think how that's going to reflect in the neighborhood?
Right.
That there's an increase in police calls that handle petty stuff that was resolved by the pool monitor just last year.
Right.
How do you think that's going to reflect on the value of our neighborhood? That this is you can pull up an app and see how many police calls come out from our neighborhood.
Right.
You want to increase that? Our tax dollars are paying for these police officers. They keep on coming out here. You want to pay that expense, no problem.
Right.
When they could be doing other things.
Right. Like policing actual crime.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You want to do all that. And I said, in addition to that, this is wildly insensitive to the people of color in this community that have already complained about being questioned about their legitimacy. We've had folks go up to the pool like, can I see your ID or what's your credentials for being here? I had a dude tell me that. Did you get permission to go do what you're doing? And I gently and very kindly said, well, sir, I appreciate your concern, but I don't have to explain anything to you. You're just like me, a neighbor.
Right.
Do you work for the HOA?
Right.
He was so wildly offended by me not identifying myself to him. This does not create a dynamic of community. It's going to create a dynamic of conflict.
Right.
That's what I told him.
Right.
And he saw me. He said, I'm going to stop fighting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stop fighting. But bro, what he suggested to me begin to lend itself to this conversation in general is because we feel confident in our own ability, our own untrained, fear-fueled abilities to police the issues that are happening in the community. And though I see merit in being always prepared to protect neighbor, to protect property, to form that into basically a sanctioned body of individuals who do not have the qualification to carry this out, but are still showing up to carry this out, is a recipe for disaster. And we see it time and time and time and time again, bro.
I don't understand how many examples we need of people trying to be vigilantes before we say this doesn't work.
Right.
George Zimmerman trying to be a vigilante, run down on Trayvon Martin. Right. Police tell him, do not engage him. Let us come out there and do it. He engages this man, and in my opinion, gets his behind whooped by Trayvon Martin. And because he thinks he's in danger, he pulls his gun and shoots him. Gets off on self-defense. Yeah. You got the militia guard coming out to this freaking protest. This is the thing. When you're thinking about wisdom, what makes you think a riot the night before has already happened? Businesses have been burnt down. People are upset. This is a very fractious and very tense situation. I have a great idea of what we can do to make this better. We're going to go out there in military gear with AR-15s as civilians, and that should... What makes you think that does not instigate the situation? What makes you think that that's not pouring gasoline on a fire?
That, the police were already there with AR-15s.
The police were already there.
That didn't happen. So how does the more unqualified, the least
qualified are there,
how are you going to actually be the ones that are going to bring peace to the situation?
Because it's never, to me, it is never a good idea to think we are going to go into this situation that's already full, it's already fractious, with AR-15s and military gear. That should make this better. It does nothing but instigate the situation.
Right.
I don't understand how you think you can stand out there and it doesn't agitate protesters and folks who are already out there that are agitated, unless you think, number one, this military gear and this gun is going to put fear in them to stop them from doing something bad, which I think is a terrible, terrible philosophy. It's a terrible philosophy for you to say.
We know
it doesn't work
the night before.
And if you are a responsible gun owner, you know that it is not wise for you to think that you brandishing a firearm is going to actually cool down a situation. When you take gun courses, they tell you should not be bringing out your gun unless you plan to use that mug. Now, people can talk about what it means to open carry and all that. Y'all can have that. I'm pro 2A I'm as pro 2A as they come. But I think that open carrying a lot of the times it's freaking stupid.
Yes.
Even from a practical standpoint, let me just put it from this perspective.
Talk about it, Meansy.
If I want to carry my firearm to be able to protect myself in a situation in which I may need to protect myself or others, why in the world would I want to open carry and make myself a target for a shooter?
That's right.
if
Where was that in the art of war?
If I am in a situation, if I am at a school or a barbershop or whatever, and I am scared that an active shooter could come in here and shoot this place up, don't you think the first person that they're going to try to shoot is me, the person that's open carrying a firearm?
The guy that can protect everybody else?
One of the freaking great things about concealed carry is that you don't know who got it.
Yes.
That's one of the great things about it.
Yes.
You can roll up in this spot
and grandma and all her friends.
And grandma and all of her friends, you know what I'm saying? They are locked and loaded and ready to go. That's what we saw when I was telling you about that video of the dude that came in the barbershop. He shot the barber, and the guy whose hair the barber was cutting pulled out his gun and shot the dude, killed the dude. But the barber ended up dying terribly. But the guy was not thinking that the guy sitting in the chair was an off-duty police officer, right? You know what I'm saying? That had the thing on him.
Yeah.
I guarantee you if he would have walked in there and that off-duty police officer was already in that mug with his gun out and they already knew that he was the guy, he would have got shot first. So just from a practical standpoint, it's stupid. It doesn't give you an advantage.
Wise,
It makes you a target. That's number one. But number two, I don't care what you say. I don't care how pro-2A you are. Guns instigate situations,
They are. What does the gun say? There's a testament to it.
The gun says, I am here to kill. I am here to fight.
Yes.
It never makes a situation better.
Right.
Sometimes it does. And if it does for you, well, God bless you. Sometimes you can pull it. I've seen that in the hood. Sometimes cats pull out a strap and then cats back down.
Peace just emerges.
Peace just emerges. when you bring the peace, you bring the peace to keep the peace. Right, or whatever. But a lot of the times, sometimes it can instigate a situation.
Sure.
And even in the hood, when cats back down, when you bring out the peace, that just means they're backing down momentarily.
That's a temporary back down.
They're just saying, we're going to take a moratorium on this right now. But now that I know that you actually would pull it on me, next time I see you, it's a wrap.
Yes, that's right.
That's usually what will happen.
Right.
That's why it's never good to do it unless you know you need to use it.
That's right.
But I think that that guns always instigate a situation. It instigated the situation with the Trayvon Martin piece. Even if you're George Zimmerman and you want to think, oh, well, maybe he's going to get a hold of my gun or whatever. Number one, you should have never approached the man.
Sure.
Because now, if I'm Trayvon Martin, you're approaching me, you are a regular civilian. Because he is. He did not have any authority.
Right.
You want to roll up on me, ask me questions. We tussle. I see that you have a gun. I'm thinking you might use it on me.
That's right.
So I might go for it because I think that you might go for it.
Yes, I'm afraid of you.
Right.
Yes.
And so that already complicated. Now we get into the situation of, did he go for the gun? Didn't he? And now we have to have this whole debate about who was in the right when it came to self-defense. The same thing that's happening with the Kyle Rittenhouse situation, right? The man that pulled the Glock, in my opinion, was probably thinking this freaking militia guy just shot one of these innocent protesters. Right. So now he's thinking he has to protect the protester. Right. So he's pulling his gun. Kyle Rittenhouse already has his gun. Seeing him pull a gun, it just complicates the whole freaking situation.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm a pro-2A person. I am an advocate for carrying, but you have to use wisdom and discretion.
That's right.
I'm thinking about another video that me and KB saw that I sent to him recently, where this gentleman arrived to a house because I guess it was his ex-wife and her new husband had custody of his daughter, and I guess it was his time to see his daughter, and the wife wasn't letting him see the daughter. So he arrived to the premises irate.
Yes.
In the video, he's in the front yard cursing out the family. I think that the sister is out there, and he's telling them, I'm gonna drag you to court. I'm going to drag you to court. I'm subpoenaing everybody. And I mean, he is irate. He looks like he's ready to go. Yeah. But he's not threatening to take anybody's life.
He's not even
just
threatening to hurt anyone.
He's saying, I'm dragging everybody to court. That's what he's saying. I'm subpoenaing you. I'm subpoenaing you. And he's yelling. Everybody's yelling. And the freaking owner of the home, the man of the house, comes out with a freaking rifle.
Yes.
Which I think is the stupidest thing that you can freaking do in this situation.
Unwise.
He comes out with the rifle.
Yes.
The man is not really scared.
Yeah.
This is how,
which happens a lot.
This is how bad. Yeah, this is exactly how bringing a gun to a situation like this can backfire on you, because you think I no doubt in my mind he's thinking, if I come out here, everybody gonna be on chill mode.
Right.
But what could happen is there's fight or flight. Somebody can see that gun and says, "Oh, it's on. I'm gonna fight you for it. We're gonna go, because if you coming out here, I don't know if you're gonna shoot me. Right. He sees that guy. They argue. The man is holding a gun. KB could tell you. Literally, they are arguing chest to chest.
Yes.
Arguing, yelling.
Which is another problem.
Yelling each other's face, arguing chest to chest. The guy is holding the rifle down here. They're yelling, chest to chest. You got the rifle here. They tussle. The dude with the rifle backs up, shoots the other guy.
Yeah.
Everybody in the comment section is saying he shouldn't have showed up to the house then.
But see,
he shouldn't have.
That's the concern, though.
That
we believe,
right.
First of all, because we're already scared.
Right.
I mean, the buying of private property is designed to be you having something of safety,
right,
and something of solitude,
right,
and kind of retreat from the chaos of the world.
Right.
I get all of that.
And people depend upon that. Oh, the castle doctrine. That is going to justify me if I have to shoot somebody on my property, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes, yes.
But what I say, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's moral.
That's right. That's right. There's an ethical burden here, fam.
Right.
This is a human being.
Right.
And you feel as though because they're disrupting the peace here, that I have the right, because I have the legal right, to have, in Florida, you have the right to open carry on your property.
Right.
I can be cutting the grass with AR-15
on my back.
It's totally fine, as long as I'm not pointing at each other. Which is still a very gray, fuzzy law. Because
what is intimidating?
I'm black with dreadlocks with an AR-15 on my back. You know,
what is it considered intimidating?
What might that look like to my neighbor? Right. You know what I'm saying?
If I see somebody walking down the street with an AR-15, what do I know? What do I think he's gonna do?
Fam, you cannot disconnect the history of guns. There's a symbol to what guns are that are connected to each time we see one.
Right.
Every time I see a weapon, I am connecting it to what weapons have done for centuries.
And I think that you actually should, depending on the situation.
Right.
If I'm in a situation and someone pulls a gun, I should instantly connect. If we're in a fractious situation, if somebody pulls out a firearm, I should connect that to somebody's going to get shot, somebody's going to get killed.
That's right.
How else are you supposed to interpret that? Is he pulling it out to show us how nice it is?
Yes. So he's like,
is he saying, "Hey, look at this new O-light that I put on my Glock 19. Isn't this awesome?"
Yes.
In the middle of an argument.
I know we're arguing, but let me inject some
there's
levity.
a protest and there's fire burning behind me. But take a sweet look at how this weapons light that I put on my AR-15 and the pressure pad that I have on it. Look, when I press
the green dot?
Look, when I press it, the light comes on with my thumb. When I take it off, it goes off. Like, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen?
But I think that this is all happening on the backdrop of we have an understanding of property in this country that, in a lot of ways, has been a big part of the American dream.
Absolutely,
and there's a lot of value to it.
Absolutely,
property and ownership. Now, there was a time where people were a part of that property and ownership as well. And that also informs the reason, a part of the backdrop of why individuals, you can watch 100 videos on the whole Karens, Karen interacting with black folks or just establishments where a black folk will have
it's
the
like
audacity.
An interloper. Like, why are you here?
Yes,
you don't belong here.
That's right. And then they'll begin to assert their rights, and that the offense immediately is on the person that's instigating.
Right.
So now I feel attacked. How dare you talk to me like this? How dare you, like you're talking to a child?
Right.
You know, we don't own our children.
Like they don't have a right.
But there's a sense of authority that we have on our children that is congruent with our property.
Right.
And I have felt that more times than I can remember, bro, when I am asserting my right, whether it's at a rental car place or at a hotel or at an airport or with a police officer, where I'm asserting my right, and it's like, who are you?
Right.
I mean, I remember I was having a civil conversation with this dude who was questioning me about my legitimacy in my own neighborhood. And I said to him, this middle-aged white man, I said to him, I said, "Sir, you and I are on the same playing field. You don't work for the HOA, neither do I. You are a neighbor like I'm a neighbor.
Right.
I don't have to give you an explanation for why I'm here." Fam, the anger that came out of him when I said that, bro, you would have thought that I said, "I am about to attack your entire family." It's like I said something about his identity.
Right. The same thing happened, like I told you, when I was at the gas station and I was in line, and there was a white lady in line ahead of me, and a Latin woman came in to ask about something that was going on with the gas pump. It was like not working or something.
Right.
There was a white lady that was like, "Well, ma'am, you need to move your car. You need to move your car." And she was like, "Oh, I just parked it there real quick so I could run in here and just ask what's going on with the gas pump." And she was her English wasn't the best, but you can understand what she was saying. She was trying to tell the lady, "Hey, yeah, I'm about to move my car now. I'm just coming in here to tell them that the pump is not working and stuff like that." And the lady was like, "No, ma'am, you need to move your car now." And she was like, "Chill, like I'm gonna go out and move my car." It wasn't even really blocking the lady.
Yeah.
And then the lady was like, "Well, you probably don't even belong in this country. You need to learn how to speak English, and you probably don't even have your green card." That's what she said to her.
Shoot.
I was standing in line, and after the initial shock, because I was like, "Did she just?"
That just happened.
I literally was like, it was me and another white guy in line, and I literally said to myself, did she really just say that in front of all of us?
Yeah.
She was like, you probably don't even have your green card. So I said, hey, I think that you're crossing the line. I actually gave her like a spiel, like, yo, you talking to that lady like that is unnecessary.
Right.
And I said, my ancestors are not from this nation. Your ancestors ain't from this nation. I said something like that.
Yeah.
But I just basically said, like, you crossed the line saying that. She didn't say anything to me. She walked out. The Latin woman walked out. The white guy next to me was like, gosh, I can't believe that lady said that. I was like, it's freaking crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
So I go outside. I pump my gas. I get in my car. I drive out the gas station. Literally, the gas station is like, there's the gas station, there's an intersection, there's a ditch, a median, and then another intersection on the other side. I'm all the way on the other side.
Right.
Far from the gas station. I see this, like I said, I saw this short, bald-headed white dude, no sleeves.
Of course.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
Just like, you know how they see like
the starter pack.
The starter pack.
I yell at my wife in public.
That's literally what he looked like. I'm just being honest.
My wife in public.
I yell at my wife in public starter pack. He came out, short guy, kind of stocky, no sleeves, red shirt on, sunglasses, head was super red, bald. He runs out to the sidewalk. Now, it's still a big distance from where he's at, where I'm at. And he's waving me down, so I think there's an emergency. So I stop in the middle of the road and roll down my window like, oh, snap, is there something happening?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that he's telling me like something is up with my car or something, like, because he was flagging me down like, hey. So I was like, oh, hey, what's up? What's going on? He was like, don't you ever dare talk to my wife like that again. Who do you think you are? And he just got red and veins started popping out of places that I never thought. And I was like, I think I laughed at him. And then I threw him the peace sign and rolled up the window and drove off. Right. But I was thinking to myself, it is the audacity.
Yes.
Who do you think you are?
Right.
First of all, your wife is a racist, sir.
Yes.
Your wife literally said to a Latin woman, you don't speak English and you probably don't even have your green card. You need to go back to where you came from.
Right.
So, first of all, I'm glad that he didn't run down on me while I was at the gas station. That was like grace of God. Because I would have had to throw some. We would have been out there throwing hands, and most likely I would have went to jail because we was in the suburbs.
They'd have been like,
and they would
I don't need to know what happened.
Yeah, you put the handcuffs on that guy. So, but
you need to take a witness report. I don't need a witness report. I'm witnessing it right now. Put these handcuffs on.
Put these handcuffs on this gentleman right here, Keon, or whatever his name, Keontae, whatever his name is.
Jerome.
All right,
Devontae.
All right, Jerome Jenkins. But yeah, it's like the audacity for you to assert, not only assert yourself and assert the dignity of others.
Yes, that's right.
How dare you question my wife?
This is our nation. This is our country. This is our neighborhood. That pride also has a dark side to it,
right?
Where if you don't seem like you belong, I begin to assume a level of authority, supremacy that hovers over you, that stands over you.
Right.
And what I'm saying is, bro, is that's a side point to really this castle doctrine, this obsession or this sort of castle doctrine on steroids.
Right.
Where, man, like, if you're at the edge of my property line, I can do whatever I want to you.
Exactly.
Image of God,
whatever.
Toss to the wind.
Toss to the wind. You're on my property.
That's right.
And now I have to defend it, and anything I do is justified.
In that comment section, in the comment section of that dude who brought a gun out to a man who...
Everyone was saying like, "Oh, it's the man's fault. He shouldn't have went for the gun. He should have been on the property." I literally wrote. Nobody responded to it, but I wrote a long thing.
Yeah.
And I said, "What about the responsibility of the freaking gun owner?"
Yes, because I concede to your point about the man is anger.
Right.
I concede.
He's angry,
but also, should people be murdered because they were angry on your property?
On your property. And not only that, another part of this comes again from what you say about the fear of what happens in middle class communities in certain suburbs where they've never seen conflict resolution before. Me being in the hood, I have seen it 1,000. Dog, I've seen 1,000 times people be on people's property in the front yard, man, cursing. I've seen it come to blows. I've seen cats on the front yard yelling at the people that live there, and the person come out and they're fighting, wrestling. I've seen all of that. I've never seen nobody shot in the front yard and killed. Why? Nobody didn't pull a gun out because somebody was in the front yard cursing them out, bro.
Yes.
And so
they get the proportion.
They get the proportion.
Right.
And not only that, folks understand conflict resolution, dog. Like, I've seen that 100 million times.
Right.
If I was walking by when that happened and I saw that man out there in the front yard, I'd be like, dang, man, it's going down out here. I hope, You know, hope they get that resolved. But if I see the dude come out with a gun, I'll be like, whoa.
Yo, my man.
You understand that you can literally go outside, say, hey, Jim, you need to leave. Grab your daughter, say, hey, honey, come in the house. Y'all go in the house, close the door, and call the police. If you want to get your gun and wait by the phone, maybe do that. But grab your daughter, go in the house, close the doors, call the freaking police.
Right.
But because you have a gun, and this is your property, here comes the vigilantism. Now I got to come out with the rifle. What up, Jim? You know what I'm saying?
What's up, Jim?
And it's stupid because now this man could have potentially lost his life for something that you could have literally called the police to resolve. You did not have to go out there with your rifle, bro.
Right.
And when I was putting that whole thing in there, I said, you all are putting the responsibility on the man in the yard, but what about the responsibility of the gun owner?
Yes.
Just because and I said, not only that, he didn't threaten anybody's life. He literally was in the yard only yelling about taking everybody to court.
That's right.
Because he wanted to see his daughter. I guess the wife wasn't letting him see his daughter. His daughter wasn't even there. You could have literally said, Jim, she's not here.
Right.
Come back another time. And if you don't come back, Jim, I'm going to call the police. Right. But none of you guys put the responsibility on the gun owner. This man was in the yard yelling about subpoenaing people to court. He was not saying, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. That would be a little more understandable because I'm like, does he have something on him? What's going on?
When is this happening?
When is it? Right.
Does he have a date
is he
for
talking
this?
about he wants to do it now?
Right now.
That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But he was just like, I'm dragging you to court. And I said, that means that somebody should come out with a rifle then? And then I was like, even if you do come out with the rifle, what are you expecting to happen?
Yes.
See, you came out with the rifle. I know that you didn't really probably come out thinking that I want to kill him. You probably came out with the rifle thinking this is going to scare him.
Yeah, this is going to shut it down.
Which is a common, irresponsible gun owner thing to do. All two-way people should know that. You should never come out with a gun thinking that it's just going to scare the person away.
Right.
You should only be coming out if you plan on using that mug.
Yes.
And what happened is the plan backfired.
Yes.
He didn't want to shoot him. I know it because that's why they were arguing face to face and he was still holding the gun down here like that. Because if he wanted to do it, he would have just did it.
Right.
But it got to the point where they started tussling. And then you shot him. But I feel like the irresponsibility is on the gun owner.
Yes.
You, again, guns escalate situations, bro.
Sure. I mean,
it's another level when you bring the gun out now.
Absolutely.
You could have came out there. That's why, and it's another thing too. Like, I'm like, bro, if you, I understand that everybody don't got time and patience to want to learn how to fight, but bro, learn how to fight. If you want to go out there and address Jim, if you want to really go out there and address Jim, address him with your hands, dog.
Yeah.
Don't go out there with a rifle.
Yes.
And expect Jim to be scared.
Yes, that's right.
Because if Jim hits you with a three-piece, now you're gonna want to shoot Jim.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So don't hide behind the gun.
Yes.
If you really want to go out there and handle business with Jim, throw the hands.
Yeah, because the truth is, you probably don't really want to go out and handle business with Jim.
You don't.
If you didn't have that rifle, you would do what you should have done. You would have stayed inside and brought your family inside.
Right.
I'm even just struck by being around actual fighters and actual, I hate to put them this way, but actual killers. I'm talking about dudes. I'm not talking about like street soldiers. I'm talking about like Marines. I have had friends and family. I mean, that's our background as the military.
Right.
They were actual killers.
Right. And I've had friends in the streets that were actual killers.
Yes.
And the way that they
try to avoid conflict, man.
It's a whole different ball.
Jocko Willink. Jocko talked about how if someone comes to him doing a tough guy thing with him, he would always say,
remember that. He was in that black and white interview.
He would always say, well, I would try to leave.
Yep.
Message. If they struck me, I would try to escape.
So it's so funny that he said that because Michael Bisping, who is a legendary UFC wrestler,
right?
He's from the UK. Beast dude. That's the dude that has one eye. That's a beast. He went out to a bar in Louisiana. He was visiting some friends in Louisiana. You know how Louisiana has their little parties.
Yeah.
He got some kind of conflict with this dude there. I think the dude bumped into him, or Michael Bisping bumped into him by mistake, and he was just like, "Oh, my bad," like being polite. Like, and the dude was like, "Man, you need to watch where you walking," kind of thing. And Michael Bisping was like, "Bro, I said I'm sorry, man. Like, chill out." And he was like, "No, you need to da-da-da." Michael Bisping was like, Michael Bisping is a UK like guy, like fighter. He just like cursed the dude out or something. Like, dude, get out of here, bro. Like, whatever. Right. The dude hit him. Dude struck Michael Bisping, bro. Hit him in the face. Michael Bisping laughed and walked away. He said he laughed at the dude in his face, walked away. Then he told about it on his podcast.
Yeah.
After he told the story in his podcast, the dude that hit him made a FaceTime and put it on YouTube and said, "I'm the dude that hit Michael Bisping." He said, number one, I didn't know it was Michael Bisping.
Yes.
That's number one. That's what he said. He said, my friends told me, bro, that's Michael Bisping. He's a freaking legendary UFC fighter.
Right.
He said, but number two, he was like, I don't care who it is, Michael Bisping, whatever. If you disrespect me, I'm going to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Michael Bisping essentially came to the podcast and he said, people could say that was like a punk move that I laughed and walked away.
Yeah.
But I laughed and walked away because I knew I would destroy this kid.
You would hurt that
the
man.
kid was like, dude was probably like 23 years old. It was like a kid.
Right.
He was like, I would destroy this kid.
Yeah, it'd be bad for him.
So he said, why would I assault him? He hit me with a punch. I told him that the punch wasn't worth nothing. I told him that it was like, felt like I got hit by my kids. And I walked away.
My daughter hits harder than this.
But you're right. But what KB is saying is right, though. When you see like real fighters, number one, they almost never fight in the street, and they almost avoid it, even if it makes them look like a punk. They will avoid it. They'll go that like Jocko said. And Jocko is a trained Navy SEAL that will kill you with his bare hands.
Right.
And in fact, if you look at Jocko, he looks like he will kill you with his bare hands.
Intimidating, bro.
So, but he said, even if people like hit me, I would try to get out of that situation as fast as I could.
Basically, he has the discernment to know when his life is actually in danger.
That's it.
Is this ego or is this danger? I think that's an important distinction that cats need to make.
Is it ego or is it danger?
Is this ego or is this danger? Because you can damage my pride and not be actually bringing actual danger to
my
me.
Life. Yeah, or anybody else.
And I think that if I may.
Is it ego or is it danger? That's such a great.
And this is what I'm saying too, bro. Is it ego or is it danger, bro? Because when you think about what Jesus says, about the beatitude or the supremely blessed. That's what that word literally means. The supremely blessed.
Yes.
The supremely blessed man or woman is a peacemaker.
Right. Now, mine is like you said, like we said before, Jesus is not necessarily saying a peacekeeper.
Peacekeeper, right.
So you're just there maintaining peace. Sometimes it happens. Listen, but Jesus is saying we are to be actively making peace.
The context of Jesus' words is the Bible. Jesus is obviously very much aware of how peace was made in Egypt.
Right.
Peace was made in Egypt by swallowing an entire army in the Red Sea.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
It's not that there isn't a place for hand-to-hand conflict.
It's not a place for violence, right?
Right. It's not to say that peace always excludes that.
Right. Right.
In fact, there's a good book about how the civil rights movement was fueled by people who had weapons.
Yeah.
That the nonviolent stance of Martin Luther King did not take guns out of his house initially.
Oh, his guns was like an armory. They said that literally in the book, it's called All This Nonviolent Stuff to Get You Killed.
Yeah.
And it's how black folks with guns actually helped make the civil rights movement possible.
Right.
But Martin Luther King, they said that his house was like an armory.
Oh, yeah. You sit down on the chair, there's a gun in the chair.
Under the seat. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So there's some tension, of course.
Right.
But there is a place, because when reason and persuasion fails.
Right.
When someone is saying to you that in order for you to bring the life that God desires, for you to protect the life that God is envisioning, you're going to have to kill me. Or you're going to have to put your hands on me.
Right.
Well, then that's not always off the table then.
Right. Absolutely.
And I understand we got good friends like Keith Kiesler that would argue that, no, it's always off the table. You just die. Okay, which I think that there's some beautiful, glorious biblical arguments for that. But I think there's also a biblical argument for saying, no, if you want to take it to this level and what it means for me to preserve life and for me to fight for justice means bringing harm to you.
Right.
Let it be done, fam.
Right, because I've pulled out all of the stops.
Yes, that's right.
To make sure that your life is preserved, my life's preserved. Everybody's at
Think
peace.
about Abraham Lincoln's efforts with the South to try to reason through this thing.
Right.
It wasn't like, and that's what I'm saying. For great men, violence is the last resort.
Right.
For scared men, violence is the first resort.
Right.
First resort.
For men with weak egos too, bruised egos, violence is the first resort.
The first resort.
You disrespect me, hands.
And then what I'm saying is, bro, is that what you find in these men who have control over their countenance is that they're able to discern, again, am I actually in danger?
That's true.
Is this going to create a situation? I remember these situations where I'm thinking about in San Francisco, there was this black gentleman and this white guy that was at this apartment complex, and he was saying that the black dude shouldn't be there and was there illegally or whatever, and then he wanted to see his key and ID. And this the white gentleman's son was with him, and his son is pulling on his dad's coat saying, "Dad, let it go. Please let it go. I want to leave. I'm scared, Dad." And he even said at one point, "I agree with him. He's right," because the dude was saying, "You have no right. you out of line, bro.
Right.
You're coming at, you know nothing about me. You're creating this conflict. The boy was essentially like, I agree with him, Dad.
Right.
Please,
Let's go.
Daddy.
Right.
It breaks my heart. It makes me want to cry right now, bro. Because this little boy is being terrorized by you insisting upon defending your ego.
Hey, free smoke, free
Wow.
smoke.
The little boy's being terrorized by it. Daddy wouldn't leave. Dad could have said, no, I'm going to prioritize my son's well-being.
Right.
Because what if this is a dangerous situation?
Right.
My little boy's right here.
Right. So now you're going to put him at risk?
Now you're putting him at risk. Take your boy to safety and make a phone call and protect him.
Right.
But you can't see that when you're scared, bro.
Right.
When, again, as we said earlier, fear locks you out of reason.
It does.
You know what else fear does? It locks you out of faith.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It locks
The
you out
Bible
of
speaks
faith.
a lot about us not being fearful.
There's no room for God in all of this. There's no room for God to bring peace or reconciliation. There's no room for us to obey his wisdom and try to be peacemakers. There's no room for all of that. God is put on the bench, bro, when fear is leading the charge.
Ooh.
Why is the number one commandment the most often heralded commandment of the Old Testament is what? Fear not.
Right.
I am with you. Not only does it say something about God, about where God is, your fear, your bowing to fear says something about where God is. It's insulting to him.
Very true.
He says, don't be afraid of men in their faces. Who are you to be afraid of other people?
Yeah.
Right? Because it says something about him.
Right.
It says that perhaps he is inefficient. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it also says something about you. Because what it says about you is that you are so removed from all the things that would actually give you peace in the situation, that you are so committed to your fright that you're not able to rationalize and wisely walk through this thing, which says that you are a weak and inefficient person.
Oh.
And I hate to say it this way, but often you do this. You act with your weapon out of fear of danger, but you're the real dangerous person.
Oh, what a point.
The dangerous person is the man or the woman that is coming in, bringing the conflict,
Right.
escalating the conflict,
Yep.
bringing it to a place where somebody ends up getting severely injured.
Right.
This is what I said
Or
on the
killed,
Facebook page.
right.
I said, I understand what you're saying, sir, because somebody in the comment section saw that video of the kid jumping on the holiday decoration and was like, he's going to show up at the wrong house. And that's how I read it. I don't know if that's how he wrote it. It could have been like, he's going to show up at the wrong house.
Yeah,
but
probably
how
wasn't.
I read it, it sounded like he was saying that he hopes he shows up at the wrong house.
Right.
And I said, what do you mean by this? He says, there's somebody's family sleeping inside. Don't you think he's putting himself in danger? I said, touche. I don't know what might happen. You know whose house you may showing up
Right.
at. And I know a lot about that, fam. When I turn into people's driveways in the middle of nowhere and I got to turn around, we are scared.
Right.
Well, I don't know who in there.
Right. Exactly.
Because I'm pulling into somebody's driveway trying to turn around could cost you your life.
It's true.
Depending on what they see when they look out the window.
Right.
Look out the window and see a black dude with dreads.
Yep.
They may come out guns blazing. I don't know.
Yep.
I've heard stories of it.
Yep.
Because of the idolatry. There's something healthy and biblical about owning property, but there's also an idolatry that can slip into.
Right.
Where you are so scared. But I told that brother on the Facebook page, I was like, yo, my guy, touche. That I want to tell my son, the reason why you shouldn't steal the piece of bubble gum, you don't know
What someone might do.
what somebody might do to you.
Yeah.
And you stole a piece of gum.
Right.
And you don't know what police officers are people.
Right.
Then they are no
And they
better
are
than we
fallen.
are.
Right. They are
That means that
fallen.
they're good and bad.
Right.
And all of them.
Right.
At the same time are good and bad.
Right. Right.
Just like me.
Right.
You don't know what part of the spectrum they might have just came off of a call. You just don't know, fam.
Right.
What a small infraction could turn into.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that way.
Right. But
Should
it
not be
happens.
that way,
and
but it
I've
happens.
seen it several
and it's
times.
good to
yeah.
be aware of that.
Yeah.
However, if you take a piece of gum to all out murder, bro, know that your behind should be in jail as well. And that's what I told him.
Yeah.
I said, man, I just want us as a community. I'm always talking. I speak pastorally.
Yeah.
Some of our neighbors actually follow our podcast, so they're hearing this. They'll be hearing this and probably ask me about it while they're walking the dog. But I said, I just want our community to be a place where we don't think an invasion of our holiday decorations is a home invasion.
Right. It's not the same
That's
thing.
not the same
Trust
thing.
me, it's not the same thing.
It's very different,
It's
fam.
very different, brother.
Yes, bro.
Home invasion is not the same thing as somebody jumping on some reindeer, Rudolph in the front yard, bro. Home invasion is knock, 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 or bang, bang, bang.
Facts, bro. And anyways,
Everybody
man,
on the floor.
the point,
But yeah.
the point I'm making is that what makes me so concerned about what our governor is trying to do and what so many of my fellow neighbors would be excited about in this vigilantism,
Lord help Ron DeSantis.
bro, is that you're not factoring in that all of this is being bathed by fear, not training, not rationale, not data.
Right.
And for the Christian of all people, it's often not being led by God.
Right.
Can we be people that calm storms? Can we be people that know how to speak life into a situation that is boiling with death?
Right.
Can we trust that God can step in and influence and persuade? Is any of that there? Or is it us, our property, and our guns
Right.
to fend for ourselves?
Yep.
And I think that without us dealing with the root cause of this, we're constantly going to find ourselves repeating what we already know to be true, bro, is that this vigilante mentality, this military, this cosplay, this worship of land that turns everything into an ultimate reality will continue to produce the divisive and deadly fruit that it has
Right.
in the past.
Right.
What if our governor were to be led by what I think Jesus would like? What if he was led by a Jesus principle that said, what if we taught people about reconciliation, or to put it in practical terms, conflict de-escalation?
Right. Right. And resolution.
And resolution.
Right.
What if we spent a lot of time helping people get, like the Daytona Police Department? What if we said we're going to allocate resource?
Shout out the Daytona Police Department.
Straight
too.
up, which is also in Florida.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. What if we spent time on giving people the social skills to navigate conflict?
Right.
Help them to understand. I think for some people that they don't even recognize that they have this sense of heightened threat around,
Right.
and that they're so quick to pull out weapons on folks.
Right.
They don't even realize that they're doing that out of the fact they're living in fear.
Right.
You'd be happier
Right.
if you could divorce yourself from this.
Right.
And I think that us as believers want to be helping one another to be good at that, to be in the society as individuals that bring peace through words,
Right.
through actions of divorcing yourself from ego and pride, through humility. This is all Jesus stuff.
Right.
What Jocko was talking about was a Jesus thing.
That's true. Yeah. Jocko essentially said he would turn the other cheek.
Yes. Jesus is referencing physical conflict.
Right. Right.
So, bro, I think it's just good for us as believers to question our assumptions if we're jumping on these vigilante bandwagons.
Right.
We question ourselves, fam. And I know a lot of people were very upset when Kyle Rittenhouse was acquitted. There was all kind of confusion that came out of that because Kyle had been supported very hard by, the Proud Boys.
Yeah, that's the question that I
cats on
said
the
on
right.
the Ruse Line process. I said, why are you at the bar singing the Proud Boys anthem, throwing up the OK symbol?
Well, let me say this real quick.
Uh-huh.
Kyle Rittenhouse did an interview.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he said that he fired his lawyer because he set that up for him to be at that bar. And he threw that sign up thinking that he was just saying okay.
Yeah.
Not realizing that there was a deeper dimension to that.
Yeah.
Which might not be true.
Might not be true.
Yeah. I mean,
He also surprisingly said he supports Black Lives Matter.
that's what I was going to say. He also came out and said that he supported Black Lives
And
Matter.
he said, if the media can do this to me, a white kid in the media, where they make me sound like seem like a white supremacist, I can't imagine what would happen to black folks in court that don't have the kind of representation that I have. I was shocked when he said that.
Kyle also said, too,
and
that
he said it on Fox.
He fired his lawyer. He fired his lawyer because he was a part of that election fraud stuff, saying that Trump won the election and that he was going to get reinstated. Yeah, he said all of that, big dog. So he got rid of him for that. It's a very, very confusing situation.
Yeah.
Because folks were like, this was our guy. But I think there was some believers that were upset that there were other believers that assumed that Kyle was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I would push back on is that, yes, he was acquitted, and yes, there is a legitimate argument, for a legal argument for his self-defense.
Right.
However, I think that the people of God should have a much higher court
Absolutely.
than the court of law.
That's exactly what, yeah, absolutely.
I think our courts, as the Bible says, that God's throne is founded on justice. That's literally
Right.
what the verse says, that the foundation of his throne
Right, literally.
is justice.
Right. It's right there in the
thing
Psalms.
that's been a side issue for us for the Christianity of the land for so long.
The Psalms say it's the
Psalm
foundation.
says it's the foundation of his throne. Okay? Justice.
Yep.
I think the justice that God is speaking about also, it spills on, why was Kyle there in the first place?
Absolutely. Which is my
With
gripe.
the AR-15 in
He
his
shouldn't
hand.
be there in the first place
Right.
with an AR-15, bro.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
In God's court, is Kyle complete? Is he justified in God's
Right.
court? And that's my question to believers out there.
Absolutely.
Because
That's
he
a
was
good-
acquitted by man's judicial system,
Right.
does God say, son, you're good with me?
Yeah.
That's my question. Because a lot of us are right to say what happened in that situation should not have happened on both sides.
Oh, absolutely. That's
There
my
shouldn't have
view.
been stuff that
You
on
shouldn't have
both
been out
sides,
there.
Stuff shouldn't have been happening.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I think that ultimately, bro, what I hope the Christian witness would become is that we would live in this culture as those that are putting out fires, not creating them.
Mm-hmm.
If we're running into the fire,
Right.
we're there with water, fam.
Right. Not gasoline,
That's
man.
right.
Yeah.
This is not at all an indictment on people exercising their Second Amendment rights. But fam, there has to be a higher constitution for us,
Right.
bro.
And us supporting the Second Amendment has to look different than the world supporting the Second Amendment, bro.
Exactly.
Because that's another thing that you got to think about. Just because cats is on the right don't mean that they're Christians.
Facts.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
There is a worldly aspect to the second to a community.
Right.
It is very clear.
Like everyone.
Like everyone.
Yes.
And ours must look different, bro.
And fam, that may be one of the biggest mistakes that the evangelical church made, along with its full-throated support of Donald Trump, is that they refused to say that the way they supported Trump was distinct
Right.
from all those who are defaming the Lord Jesus,
Right.
support Donald Trump.
Right.
There was not a Christian
no
support
distinction.
of Donald Trump. The Christian support of Donald Trump is that you support Donald Trump.
Right. That's it.
And we're going to look into it because you know what?
And cats like Pastor Jeffrey Roberts, and even some friends of mine who I have tremendous respect for, who went to the White House, that there was not a concerted effort to draw distinction, that even in the way that we are supporting this man, we're doing it in a way that keeps our Christian purity,
Right.
at least from the baseline ethic
Right.
standpoint, or even calling out other people that may agree with me that they like Trump, but we say that we don't like him like that.
Right.
We wouldn't do that. We wouldn't affirm those things. And it's the complicity that comes from the silence, bro. And it's the complicity that comes to if you are making it seem like God, via your support, is on the Trump train, then fam, what do we need you for? What threat to the kingdom of darkness do you have?
Right.
You're just one of them.
Right. Exactly.
What are you doing here? You just have a Christian theme to your song, but we're still singing the same song as them.
Exactly. It's
You
a
just
Christian
put
veneer.
Jesus at the end.
Yep.
So, man, that distinction, I use as a way of analogy that distinction, no matter where you find yourself at, Democrat, Republican, and everything in between, there should be lordship that's visible
Right.
and practical
Right.
in your membership of that camp.
And that lordship should transcend the camp.
The lordship should
It
transcend.
should transcend the camp. You can't say lordship is a part of the camp,
Right.
which is what cats like to do.
Yeah.
What does it mean for me to be a Republican, to be a Christian?
Yeah.
If I'm a Christian, I have these values, then I'm Republican.
Right.
No. The lordship of Christ has to transcend all of that,
Amen.
which will put you at odds with everybody
Yes.
when need be,
Right.
if need be.
Yeah, so be it.
Right. And so, and also not allow your Christian faith to be hijacked to push agendas that are necessarily not Christian.
Right.
But they're just a social philosophy that you agree with.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
A social philosophy slapping a Christian bumper sticker on that mug and just trying to garner Christian support.
Right.
Because if folks want to look at how the evangelical marrying the conservative party piece started, it wasn't always like that.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Amen. I believe that all of this centers around fear and this sort of incestuous relationship that we keep referencing to with what it means to be an American.
Right.
And I think that there is some redefining that Jesus would have us do that would not necessarily burn all our Second Amendment privileges, but also would not have that as what leads our understanding of these issues, and also not lead our where we lend our support. So anyways, with that being said, man, we love y'all so much.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much for rocking with us for another episode of Southside Rabbi. I am KB.
I am Amin the Dream.
We out.
Yeah.